Well, unfortunately I found this pretty little robin dead in the garden the other day, and rather than waste it, I was thinking back on the woodpecker mount I'd done earlier and how it might look nice as an ensemble with that. Possibly put just over here rather than on top, maybe just there. That could be quite nice up there. I haven't decided yet, we'll decide that at the time, but maybe here or there. And there's been a few of you who have asked me how smaller and larger birds are done. Well, all I say in return is exactly the same way. A goose or whatever can be done in exactly the same way as the woodpecker or the owls, and this little bird can be done in the same way, but it is more delicate. We have to be a lot more careful in skinning and in sewing up and setting it. So let's make a start. We're needing our usual scalpel, and I need to put a new blade onto this one. And in the way of tools and materials, what are we going to need? Well, we're going to need a small scalpel with a new blade, a pair of pliers, some fine wire, a pair of eyes, some fine fishing line and a needle, a bit of wool, and some tweezers, a knitting needle, the borax, then round to the fiberglass wool. Again, modern stuff is not so bad. Some tissue, some strong scissors, and that should be about all we're going to need. Let's go from there. First thing is we've got to carefully remove this poor little bird skin and see if we can make it something special that will last a bit longer. So very carefully then, just come around to the breastbone. These delicate little legs here, it's such a shame. But I don't think a cat's had this one, although I do have problems with cats on my bird table. There's so very little to get here. It takes quite fine finger work, and you see there's the breastbone there. And very carefully, so I want a sharp blade, we just nick across the breastbone there and peel back the skin. You see how easily it comes back? There we go. I'm going to need borax on that fairly quickly. So we'll just peel back the skin here. I don't know how long it'll take us, but a small bird shouldn't be too bad. You see how quickly that comes back? Immediately then, get some borax and drop it in there, spreading it over the whole of the skin that you pulled back, and even the meat as well, even though we're not going to bother with that later, it's all coming out. Plenty of borax in there. Peel the skin right back to the neck. Keep it clean, keep it dry. We want to do this all in one go, quite quickly. Again, we've got to be careful, ever so careful with it. Right back to the wings and the neck here. So here's the neck coming out. Can't see what's killed it, I can't see any marks on it, unless it just flew into a window or something, but there we go, look. Just peeling back ever so carefully, don't tear the skin, peel it back, come around the neck there, again, keep this borax going. I know I say this in all the films, but it is true. Keep the borax going all the time, right down the neck here, carefully peeling it down. Be gentle with it, be very gentle with it. Little bird deserves it, doesn't do any harm to anybody. I do love robins, especially. Robins and ivy and holly are Christmas things, aren't they? And they are childhood things as well for me. Right back here, a little more borax again into that area. Keep it dry, keep it clean. We're peeling back around the neck now. See there. I want to get my finger just underneath that neck. Here we go, we're just finding the space there now. Right round. It's ever so delicate to do. And even with my arthritis it's not that brilliant. There we go. And we've now got round the, you can see my finger coming through there, we've got round the skin on the neck, so we can gradually peel back up around the head now. There we go, look, quite quickly. Again, a bit more borax there. We could do the wings and the legs first, but here I'm just going to peel back around the head while I'm all in one go, while the going's good. Just back around the head, peeling down here towards the eyes. Using my thumbnail just to gently prise down there, get that borax going, keep it in there. The borax is the thing that's going to preserve it. We don't have to wash the skin, we don't have to do anything else, don't have to inject it with anything. This borax is going to do all the work we want. Right down on the bottom of the beak here. You can see now the eye is just starting to show. There we go. You only need your thumbnail on this. We haven't got to use the knife a lot, so it's not that fine a work. I want to keep these little red feathers nice and clean. Use my fingernail just to pull that down around the eye. There we go. Right down, just around the eyeball there. The other side the same, use my fingernail just to pull that skin back and down here around the eyeball. That's that bit. Usually I do the wings and legs first, but in this case it's just come away so easily. I'm just going to continue. Right. A bit more borax around there just to keep that area dry while I'm working. Now I'm going to come back down the body to the wings, these little wings here, look. Keep the fluff out of the way. I don't want all this fluff getting wet, I want to keep it dry. And peel up around the wings here. There we go. How small this little fellow is. Just up and around those wings, right back. Use your thumbnail again, so hopefully you've still got fingernails. Not so good for those of you who bite their fingernails. Right down to the end here of the joint, and at that joint, which is where we need the scissors, we're going to clip it off like that, and a bit more of the borax into there. Come round to the other side, find the other wing, tiny bird. Find his wing again, come up the wing, feel your way up it, round it like this. There we go, there's the wing again. Again, borax, keep your fingers dry, keep the thing clean, right up to the end of the joint again, right back to here, and snip it off. Again, borax in there, it's a tiny thing. Now we come down to the legs. Find the leg, and again, if you do it this way it's easier. Push the leg back up and through to find it. Here we go, it's so small, it's so fragile, it's so thin. There we go, look, there's the leg here. Snip it off, right down at the knee. A little bit of borax into here, again, pull the leg back. Find the other leg. Push that leg back up and through as well. Go back round the feathers. Find it on the inside and push it through like this. There we are, all the way round now. Push that right back. Here's the little body coming out. I do feel sad about it, but it's no good being over romantic about this. Is a dead bird, and it would just be rotting away and disappear completely with the beetles by now if I hadn't done this. Pull that skin right down there, chop it off. There we go, and in with the borax again. Now we can get right round the body now. So here we are, look, the skin is pulled right away, right down to the tail. Here's the tail, and it's so small. There's a gland there that we don't want to leave in the skin. It's the oil gland, and it won't help the skin to dry out if we leave it in. So we've got to cut away just carefully below that oil gland and put some borax straight onto that tail, pull it back carefully. There we are. Now that bird is completely free now of the body, look. Its spirit is free, and now the body is free from the skin. Sounds a bit weird, but there we go. And we're right down to its beak here. So at this stage I want to cut off. What a tiny body we're going to have to make, look, in the model, just to fill it in a minute. Just cut off the head at the back and put the body to one side. You're going to need it because you're going to need to recreate it shortly. And now we've got to remove the back of the head and the eyes and the brain. Here's from the top, there's the top of the skull, the two eyes, and the back of the head and the brain. Very little left there to work on. So carefully then, it's so fine, just cut out a little triangle here. Don't take too much. Cut that out there. Cut along inside the beak here, where it would be underneath. And we can move the whole of that interior out. Cut right down through. It's so fine. We've got to leave ourselves enough to work with later. Just clean all that gunge out. There's a little bit of brain. There we go, look, that's almost all out in one go. The brain and the tongue, everything else that's inside there has to come out. There we go. Put it right into there. Matter like that left in there at all. Now this is where your tissue comes in. Take a little bit of tissue, or even the fiberglass wool, and with the pinchers, just go in there and clean that out. Finally. There we go, look, and that's absolutely clean and clear now. There it all is on there. We'll just wrap it up, little package, put it out the way, and immediately go back in with some borax, straight into there, before we even do the eyes. Fill it up with some borax, and pull the excess borax out in just a moment. Now back with my fine scalpel, and we're going to remove the eyes now. It always seems a bit gory. This is the only gory part actually, because the rest you see was so clean and so quick. Just cut neatly around the eye down here, and this is where I usually use my pinchers again, because if you go in underneath with the pinchers, you can just lift the eye out, look, in one go. There we go, here he comes, just go over that, and the whole thing comes out in one piece. Voila, that's it. Away with the other waste. Again, we want to clean it out in a minute. We'll just do the other side. The eye. Now a matter of cleaning. Again, some tissue. You can use the tweezers, or you can just use your fingers to dry that out, and you can see right through there now. Again, we want to put borax into there, so the whole thing is always, any damp area is being covered with borax. And straight away, take some fiberglass wool and pad the inside of this tiny skull. Pad it right solid. Make sure that's really in there solidly. We do want this to support. The skull is so fragile, so light and so weak. We really do want it well supported right into there. So pad it well in, pack it well in. There we go. Push that in with your finger. And even the little eyeballs, tiny balls of fiberglass to go into those eye sockets to fill them before we put the eyes in. Same the other side. I do have a collection of 1800 stuffed birds, of small ones, where I've got some hummingbirds in there from Australia, and they're wonderful little creatures. Look back on all those years, hundreds of years ago. There we go, look, that's ready. At this stage I would like to put the eyes in too. So here are my eyes, or here are the bird's eyes, and we're going to snip them off about a 1/4 inch up along the wire. About a 1/4 inch up there, snip, just break them off. The same the other side. Sometimes this actual wire can be useful too, because it's quite stiff for these small birds. Now into there, place the eye. In this case I've left them black and clear, and push that just into the centre. It's so fiddly. To the centre of the eye here, like that. It's so small. I do want it dead on the right spot. That's it. Now they are both opposite to each other. And if I can, now a little more borax over the whole thing before I pull it back. I need now to very carefully get that beak back through the neck here, if I can find it. Little pointy beak, catching those little flies, insects. And once I've found that, there it is, I have to carefully pull back the skin over the head, voila, like that. There he is, and we can just now see the eyes showing underneath here as we hoped in the first place. There we are. Give that bit of realism when we finish off. Okay, do a bit of tidying up now, and we can start doing the wires. So let's lay him out, totally skinned and ready now to put the wires through. There we are. We'll just tidy up here a bit. Now the next thing I have to do before I continue with the bird, I want to prepare the body ready to go inside. Don't leave it too long or this skin starts to dry out, but while we're actually waiting, saying that, we will put a little bit of borax in there again just to keep it dry and to preserve it. Now this tiny body we have to make in polystyrene, so I'm going to cut a little tiny bit of the blue polystyrene, the blue foam, and just make this little tiny body and sand it to make it the same shape as this, so I can just put it inside here. Right, well here is our little body, and here is the foam one I just made. See, it's almost identical. And I can put this to one side now, and this is going to go into here later. Now we need some wire that's not too heavy, but is also stiff enough to do the job. And most garden centres have materials for this. This should be just what I need for this particular one. It's not going to be that easy because I've got to get these up through the legs here, and this particular one, this would be ideal in fact from the eyes, but I've only got that one piece of wire. I don't think I've got any more spare of this particular wire. It's nice and firm. This is a little bit heavy, a little bit thick, but it's the thinnest I've got otherwise. What I've got to be able to do is thread this wire up through the legs and through the wings and so on. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3 times at least the length, probably about that length. You can see I've just started it there just to show you. One of those. Same again. And that's going to need to be about that long. I'm going to fold the wings, so not having these open. Little robin sitting there. Again, the same again for the wings. And I shall need it for the neck as well, just to come right out and through. And I suspect that'll be way long enough for the neck. Over there. And I'm also going to need a little triangle for the tail, just to hold the tail up. So if we make a shape like this, wedge shape, there we go, that's going to be there for later. Right, put the wire away. Now I've got to try and thread it through, and that is not going to be that easy. So here we go, we've got to go up to the bottom of the leg, and you can see I've already got to the joint here. The joint is the hardest part. Push it right up through, under the skin, up to the joint, like that. You can see it's at the joint now. And this is the difficult bit, getting it through there where it wants to bend. I've also got the bone there as well, so that's another reason it doesn't want to go through that bit. But it's not coming out of the skin here, that's the important thing. I've got it through there, right up through. Now it's just starting there now. But there's something I haven't shown you yet I need to do, even on the small bird. I haven't put the padding inside the legs yet. I just want to get these wires in, started off this time, up inside that leg, just to start off. That's that one. I'm going to pad it now. A little bit of fine. This is so fine, we hardly need any padding at all, because you really haven't got much space to pad in, to be honest. Any of the magic away, it just shows you a simple way to do this process. Make sure this wire is straight when you try and push it through, otherwise you're going to have problems. So especially the first few inches. Again, started at the top here. It's important we go right down to the wing, because we're going to have to fold this wing correctly alongside the bird, naturally, to make it look as if it's still alive. Which I wish it was, but, well, not at the moment I don't, but it's a shame that this has happened to it at all. But everything has to have an end, nothing is forever, nor me nor you. There's the head, here's the wing, there's the hole just there. Just poke in a bit of padding and then bring that wire right the way, pull that wing right the way up, and at the end of the wing make a little hook like that. Now I want to leave enough wire at the bottom to go into the wood, and I've got to have enough at the top here to go through the plastic, so that should be plenty there for the wood. Need a very fine drill for that later to place it into the wood. Make sure that goes down around the leg into the cavity again. Don't want it all over the place here in the way. That goes. That's it, and that's ready. Now we have to finally prepare the body, the neck, and the neck goes in here at this bit, right down and through, and bend it over backwards like that to come back again. I want it fairly tight, so I'm going to have to use the pliers just a bit here to make it a bit thinner at the top. That's it, and that comes back into here to hold that bit of plastic back in again. There we go, pull it right in like that, and there's our neck. Now the actual length of the neck on the bird, you can see here, is not that long. It's only that long, and then the rest is going to be going through the skull. So this bit is the bit that I need a little bit of fiberglass wool on, and just to bind it round to give the thickness of the neck, almost, and hardly needing any wool at all, almost this bit of wool will do. So we take that wool now and bind that around to give the neck. There we go, and that's the length of the neck now, the actual bird's neck. Right round. And tie it off. There we go. You can see that now. There, look. Just the thickness of the neck only. And we can just snip off that loose end, twist that round there. And that now has to go into the bird and through its little tiny skull at the top. So here we take the back of the head, we go in just under the chin here, and you want to come out just forward between the eyes and the centre there. You can see it just coming through here, look, and there's the beak. You can just see the wire and the beak there. Push that right up and inside. Stretch the neck over it, in other words, so that that goes up inside the skull. And there we are, there's a little bird, look, already giving a song. Now the difficult bit, because it's so small and so fragile, we have to bring the wing down and through here. And again, bend it back and push that back through like that. Bend that downward slightly, just for the moment until we can get them correct. That leg has to come in, it's pushed out again. Let's get it, these legs have to go right, make sure they're right in there. If you have to use the pliers to push them into the plastic, we want them hiding right down below. That and that. Then we can pull the leg back down the wire to the bird. That's where it should be there. And this one the same. Pull that leg back down to the body of the bird. The wings probably are alright anyway, yes they are. And the next job will be to sew this thing up, and that is not easy with such a small creature, with such a fine skin. Not easy. And the tail has to come back round here. And I need to also put in that little curved wire, this one, for the tail. Let's get them level first. Such a very fine job, fiddly job on a small bird like this. pick up the tail and find where the end is. It's just here. There it all is. Right, next some fishing line. And I usually do a double on this. I usually take a piece of line, and to make it stronger I double it over through there. What I tend to do then is double it over and come to the end of the line and tie the two ends together. Make sure your knot is right at the end when you start off, that it's not come round. And start at the throat then. Just nick through it. It's very fine skin, so I have to be careful. And I'm going from the inside out so that this first knot is going inside the skin and won't be shown at all. Then go to the opposite side. The stuff I keep out of the way. And just whip through the skin, the opposite side. Don't pull too hard or you'll... Looks a bit fluffy at the moment, but I think you'll find it will all come together when I... the very last part here. There we go. We seem to have got that together now, so now I've just got to pick up on these last couple of pulls through and just tie the needle through into a knot without including too many of the feathers. That should do it. We'll snip that off, or cut that off, just there. Put that over to one side, don't go and lose your needle, you need it another time. And now it's the final shaping. So the head has to come back that way and then slightly forward. Start to see it taking shape now. Slide the camera back a bit now so we can see it a bit better as I go along. Pull the axe out the way. Now we need to get the legs correctly. So the legs are going to come. Now normally I would do them in exactly the same as the bones in the on the bird, but in this case I haven't got to be so delicate because it's a smaller thing. It's not going to show as much. So let's bring those legs down and then forward like that. So they're going to just sit nicely. The tail has got twisted. There we go. I need to find his tail again. There we go. There's the tail. I need to get the back of the bird just fluffed out and correct again. There we go. There's the back of the bird. Just pulling round, just get the feathers level again. Now the wings, you can see it's coming together, look. Just spread those tail feathers correctly in a moment, they're overlapping each other. There we go, and I can see it much better there. And the wings have to come back, forward and back, so back, forward, and then we bend them there to come back, and they will just fall back along the bird like this. But there you can see we've almost got the bird. So now I'm going to set it onto the wood. There we are. But we don't see him down there very well, although it's quite pretty. It's quite nice there. But I think it might be a bit too obvious up here. Hard to say. What do you think? I guess there would be quite fun, but it's a bit close to the woodpecker's head. So I've got to drill into these, and my drill doesn't take the finer drill bit. It still won't grip it, which is a bit of a nuisance, but that's what I can do. Just push the moss back under his feet when we push it down. Hopefully it'll look more natural then. Right, now we've got him sitting there. We've got to just try and get the angle a bit better, the legs. Have him sitting up a bit more. It's starting to take shape now. I think we're nearly there now. We just got to get the fluff just right. Right, I think that's about as close as I'm going to get. So we'll trim that up when it's dry and tidy it up a bit in between, and we've got our woodpecker and robin together.